Hey, what's up? I'm Pascal from Orangepixel. Welcome to another video. Q&A. First Q&A of the year. Also the last Q&A of the year, I guess. I don't like doing Q&As, but on last week's video I asked for a bunch of good questions. And some of you really delivered some good questions, or at least good enough that I can fill up an interesting Q&A with just like a handful of questions. Now, everything that doesn't get an answer in this video, I replied to that. It's mostly that those questions are just would have been rehashing things. I answered these things in all my videos, so just subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on these things. Let's dive into some of the better questions. Okay, so the list of questions is in my hand. Let's start easy. Do you see value in showcasing, demoing your games at in-person events? No, none at all. Not for me. I don't like such crowded events to go to, not even as just visiting. So showcasing my game would, I don't know. I don't think I would like that. I think these events are more meeting up with like-minded people and nerding out, basically. There's a lot of game developers at such events, so it's fun to talk to them, but you get to meet each other. And if that's your thing, if you want to put faces to names or have more personal contact, then sure, go to such an event. But for your game, I don't think it's that interesting or important. I've never been to any and never showcased my games there. Some of my games got showcased by other companies, but that I don't think that brought in anything extra. Also networking, a lot of people tell you you can go networking at these events. Not really. The networking is done outside of the event. Of course, you'll meet people and you can get into contact with things, but I don't think it's important. That's the key thing here. It's not important for your business. I got by without any events or without any meetups. You can do without. It's costly. Flying there, a hotel, just walking around every day there, or just showcasing. That means you need to bring a computer, whatever. It's very costly and it's not gonna come back from game sales or revenue. If you're looking for publishers and things like that, I don't think an event is the right place to do it either. I think there are many more cons to an event than pros. But of course, if you like such a thing, go to one. If you can afford it, go to one. Why not give it a try? For me, it's a no-go. Second question, did you completely drop the idea of working on HTML5 games? Yes, the short answer here is yes. I don't think there is money in HTML5 for my game business. My business works and survives because I release games on as many platforms as possible. I create them with a PC in mind, so keyboard and mouse gameplay, but also gamepad, so we have consoles covered, but also mobile touch controls. Those are my platforms. HTML5, the big portals like Poki, Crazy Games, a few others, are very much into hyper casual games, so something it's very different from the type of games you would release full price on Steam. You cannot sell these games as a full PC game. So the market for HTML5 games, that market that is there, is just not interesting to me and my games. It won't work. I cannot make it work. So no. Right now, HTML5, I love it. I've been tinkering with it just last weekend, still tinkering with things. Kinda thought it would be interesting to just create HTML5 versions of my games and have them on various websites, making little bits of money here and there. But with all these big companies that really locked in the HTML5 market and really pushing games to a certain type of audience, it locks out so many games, and that includes my type of games. So right now, HTML5 is dead to me. Let's move to a more serious question. How has AI changed your process? I suspect you might say not at all. No, AI hasn't changed my process. I also haven't really talked about AI on this channel because I'm still torn between the good stuff and the bad stuff that AI is. Also, I'd like to refer to it as not AI, because it's not intelligent. It's an advanced search software. Now, I have been using it here and there, just If I can't figure something out, or for a PHP website, my wife's website runs PHP, I had to do some tweaking and things, I can dig through the whole PHP manual, finding the right functions to do it, or I can ask ChatGPT and it spits out the exact information I need by going through all these pages of documentation already. So in that sense, it has been useful. AI has its uses. I have been actually trying to do it here and there for some high resolution marketing artwork. It works, but we are in a weird industry where a lot of people are against it because obviously copyright infringement or whatever, it's all based on existing art, and that's the gray area, or maybe for some it's not a gray area, but yeah, if you dig into it, it's a gray area. Every artist gets inspired by other artists. That has been going on since the first cave drawing, so now we have technology that pretty much does the same, and I get it's painful for artists. I completely understand that, but also it's not going away. It's here. It's used in many other industries. Yeah, it's very hard to talk about AI because a lot of people will now be, no matter what I say, which way I go, there are people against and for. So it's always going to be for now it's going to be a controversial subject. Check back in 5 years or 10 years and AI will be either completely gone as a failed money pit, still a possibility, but I think it will be around in certain ways and hopefully not in the wrong ways. Although, yeah, it will be around in the wrong ways as well. This is why I have not been talking about AI. For me, for Orangepixel, I love coding. I program almost everything myself. Every now and then I'm stuck looking for a solution. If I cannot find it online, because let's face it, Google or any other search engine is now a page full of sponsored content that is never the answer you're looking for. So finding an answer, I almost have to go back to an old school library and read through books. Although the answers I'm looking for are not in those books because everybody put them online, but we cannot find them anymore unless we use AI. So AI has its purposes, but I'm not fully convinced, or no, I'm not fully diving into it just yet. I cannot afford to do something with AI and then have my whole business cancelled for whatever reason, because I need this business to survive and keep making money. So AI it's there. I'm not ignoring it. I think everybody that watches this video has at some point looked at AI and tinkered with it and used it for certain things. But it's not in my workflow just yet. If I use it, it's for something weird that I cannot figure out myself, and I hope that ChatGPT can help me with it. So in that sense, it's there, but in any other sense of creating assets, it's not there. Not yet. I think that was a politically correct answer, and I still know this will have pissed off certain people. I have used AI in thumbnails as well. That pissed off people, maybe just one or two, saying I shouldn't use AI in my thumbnail. So let's continue with real good questions. Although this was a good question, just a weird or difficult subject. For a developer that needs funding, I don't even have access to Kickstarter in my country. How else can someone get funding without publishers? You cannot find funding right now. It's very difficult. I did a Kickstarter in 2020, COVID time. People were at home, behind a computer, playing a lot of games. Money for the game industry was everywhere. That Kickstarter was at, I think, only $8,000 I requested, but my main intention was to find a publisher with that Kickstarter, which worked out. I found Apogee, which was a publisher from the 90s, coming back, and they were looking for games, and they had bags of money, to put it very simply. They had investors behind them or coming in to put even more bags into the company. So the Kickstarter, the publisher, I had a lot of money. The game was profitable before it was completed. Residual is the title I'm talking about. But those days are gone. That was the COVID time. A lot of money coming into the industry. Everybody was playing games. Now a few years later, the last 2, maybe 3 years, that money has been slowly been taken out of the industry. So a lot of game developers lost their job. Publisher deals are very hard to get. Funding in general is very hard to get. If you can find a publisher or funding right now, that means your game is very good. You are already there. You know that this game is amazing, and it's also almost finished, because no publisher is looking at a game that isn't at least 60 or 75% done. The risks are too high right now. So funding, if you need to complete your game that you're working on now, funding is simply not there. Doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter if you have Kickstarter access or not. Funding isn't there unless your game is so amazingly good that everybody is almost on their knees begging you to take their money. And that's gonna happen to maybe just one, maybe two developers each year. And if you're at that point, you can even say no to that, because you obviously have a hit game that everybody wants. The publisher would only magnify the success you'll already have. They can magnify, they can also F it up, depending on the publisher, but they can only magnify the success at that point. If you want to create games right now, you need to create small, tiny games that you can fund yourself, release them, release another, and hope that those games that you released actually keep bringing money with discounts, sales, and maybe other things going on, so that you can then fund a slightly bigger game, and the next, and the next, and the next. And that's really how it has to, how you have to try to build up your company now. Maybe 5 years from now it will change. These things move up and down, but right now it's very rough out there to try to fund it yourself. Or, this is a very harsh reality, get out of game development completely. Find something else. There is a lot more money out there if you're technically good at programming or developing things, or a skilled artist. There's a lot of industries out there, and they are probably paying you a lot more for the work you can do. I don't know, but get out of the game industry if you cannot fund your own game development. And that ties in somewhat with the next question. Can you tell us more about real game marketing? Indie devs on YouTube basically don't tell you how to do it and keep the answers vague. I don't think we as game dev YouTubers keep the answers vague. It's just that it's a very vague thing, marketing, PR. I mean, the essence is very simple. Get your game noticed by as many people as possible. That's all it is. But how you do that and what the best methods are, I don't think anybody has the magic solution for that. Of course, there are PR agencies, marketing companies, publishers. They all they have more experience with it, but most of all, they have more money, and even more than that, they can cherry pick the winners. If you're creating one game, that's the game you have to market, and that's the game you have to get the attention for from as many people as possible. If it's a game that just doesn't look appealing or doesn't look interesting to enough people, yeah, it's going to be extremely hard to get the right people to notice that game. A PR agency or a publisher, the good ones can cherry pick or will cherry pick the games that they know will do fine. A game that if you look at the screenshot at one go, you'll understand what's going on, you'll love the game already, you have all the ideas, you want to know more about this game. That's the game they will gladly take up and then start promoting and marketing for it, because it's easy. Not that it's extremely easy, but it's a lot easier than picking the game that has a unclear screenshot and isn't clear and has to be played for a couple of minutes before you understand how cool it is, or takes a little bit more time, or simply has a smaller audience. So the thing here is that a lot of marketing and PR experts and team analytics people will simply tell you, look, this is the most popular genre, make a game in that genre, look at these titles, these are the top in this type of game, and these are the comments people leave behind that they are missing this feature, or they really love a certain feature. Create a game around that certain feature, or create a game that has the missing feature, and it should be a lot easier to get your game noticed. And that's all very true, but also games are not made in a sentence like that. Games are made in, I don't know, shortest maybe 6 months, longest 2 years, 3 years. You have to be working on that game for that long. You'll have to have the creativity, have to keep going at it, have to stay inspired by your own game, working on it. So you really have to love the material you're working on. And that's the thing that all these marketing people or analytics people cannot grasp in data, simply because they have no data on that, so they don't understand, maybe, I don't know. But creativity needs something, and not boringly create a genre of a game because people love the genre, even though the developer or the artist has no affinity with it or doesn't even like it, and just hammer on to create the game. That just doesn't work. Even in AAA studios, if they start prototyping new games, they want as many people on board and loving the idea that they're prototyping, because the next 4, 5, 6 years, that team, some will move and some will come into the team, but that core team has to create this game for so long, for so many years. They have to stay interested in creating such a game. Okay, I guess I'm now being vague on all of this. Marketing is showing your game to as many people as possible. So the type of game will be the base on how easy it is to reach the people that love this game and need to know about it. My games, example, pixel art, low resolution, you gotta love that. If you don't, my games are just not for you, I guess, because you're not gonna be watching that low resolution stuff. But with modern gameplay. So if you're only into the retro games from the 80s and 90s, you might not like my titles because they are very more modern in gameplay than the old titles, even though they look like that. So somewhere in the middle is my audience. And I know that makes it a very tiny audience compared to so many gamers out there. And for me, 90s games are retro, but for a younger audience, games from 2010 are retro because they're 15 years old. And so there is, of course, that narrows down my audience as well and makes marketing even harder. But that's what you got to work with. And that's try to find your audience and try to convince them to try your game. That's marketing. I know this again sounds all very vague, but I hope I got the point across. Now, of course, marketing also depends on the amount of money you have to spend. If you have a lot of money, you can pay YouTubers. They like that. Maybe like $1,000 to play your game on their channel. Yeah, that's $1,000 to have them play your game, and that doesn't mean you get $1,000 back in sales. And you can advertise on sites like Reddit. Try to find the right Reddit group or audience, and then try to have them see your advertisement and hope that spawns sales. You can try to advertise on Facebook and things like that, but I'm not sure if gamers are on Facebook still. So you try to find your audience, and if you have a little bit of money, you try to advertise to them, because that gives you a lot more power in reaching them. It's not just going to be an image or a post that flies by in their timeline. It's something that's going to be recurring, and they'll see it over and over again. And start early. Whenever you got something cool to show, start with that. And people will start asking, where can I find this game? How can I wishlist it? That's when you got them, and that's how you try to build it up until you release, with hopefully a lot of people being interested in your game. Right, next question. Okay, wrapping up the video with this question, and it hooks a little bit into the previous one. How in today's market to choose a genre for your game so that it would be interesting enough for you to work on, at the same time have commercial potential. That hooks a little bit into the answer I just gave you. Finding the most popular genre, the most popular games right now. Can you make a twist on that? Do you like working on it? If you don't like working on it and you're going to be spending 6, 12, 20, 24 months on working on this game, you better like it. No gamer will put that much time into your game. You are the one that has to like it. Certain genres are always popular. So I don't know, tower defense, first-person shooters, automation thingies, idlers, I guess. There is a lot of things there, but also a lot more competition. because everybody has this same knowledge. Certain type of games are more popular. Make them, see what's missing for people, or see if there are specific features that you can build into a whole new game. That's the more interesting thing, I guess, because then maybe you'll start a new genre. Build a game in that, if you can, if you like it. If you don't, look a little bit lower in the list of top genre of games and see what you do like. For me, I just create the games I want to create and hope for the best. I know it makes it a lot harder to market it, but at least I know I'll have a good time working on it for 6 or 12 months, and that I don't get annoyed by it, or at some point after 8 months I'm just not feeling it anymore and I want to create something else, abandoning the project. So make sure you like it. I think that's more important than making a game that the whole world will like, because that will never happen. There's always an audience there. You're not unique. So if you like it, I bet there are 1,000, if not millions of other people on the world who will also like it. The problem is just that if there are less people liking it, it's going to be harder to reach them. If everybody likes the game, it's very easy. You'll just show it to anybody and they'll buy it. But if you have a group of 1,000 people and only 2 like the game, you're gonna have to figure out how to reach those 2 in an audience of 1,000. And that's both the marketing, the genre, and if you like working on it or not. And of course you have to do that within the time you have available, and that's dictated by the funding you have. So that, I think that ties everything up into one cool video. Alright, so I'm gonna edit this video and see what's left, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, and the keyword for this week's video, let's go with something crazy: orange. I think we had that before, but we're gonna use it again. Orange in the comments below if you have nothing to add or ask or whatever. Regular viewers know this. If you're not a regular viewer, subscribe. And I will see you in next week's video. No idea what it's going to be about, but a lot of you also gave some good video topics in last week's video. So who knows, maybe I'll do something on one of those topics, or maybe we're going to look at Chrono Shard. The game is almost done. Well, yeah, maybe, I hope, I think, hopefully next week. We'll see. All right, bye.